friendship's magic, and it's growing all the time. A new adventure waits for us, each day is yours and mine. We'll make it special every time, we'll make it special every time. What a wonderful wonder friendship brings. Do you know you're all my very best friends? You're my very best friends. You're my very best friends. You're my very best
Hello, this is Tea Time Rewind, a part of community radio class at Otis, and today we're going to be talking about girls media, specifically My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and My Little Pony's many generations since the 80s.
Thank you.
So this is Ella. I'm a toy design student at Otis, and I've loved My Little Pony since I was really young. And we also have...
Hi, my name is Maren. I'm also a toy design student, and I'm a junior at Otis.
I'm Ava Scott. I'm a product designer.
Hi, I'm Ashley Marin. I am an animation major. What's up, Mark? What's up, Lumi? What's up, Cindy? I told her.
Oh, yeah. Also, shout out to Bunny if you're listening, my roommate. Thank you for tuning in. And we're going to start with talking about the origin and history of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. So, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic was developed by Lauren Faust and first aired in 2010 as the fourth generation of My Little Pony.
Yeah.
I think it's from the first episode. Yeah, there's more elegant.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Or
and
Moon.
the show first aired on the Hub network, which was partially owned by Hasbro. And that's why a lot of their shows on there were ones made to sell Hasbro toys such as Transformers, Strawberry Shortcake, and Care Bears. My Little Pony is no exception to that, but the show itself boosted toy sales like crazy because of its popularity. And Ashley, do you want to go into that a little bit?
Sure.
If you have anything to say, if not, I can keep going.
I mean, yeah. Just a lot of people argue it's pretty much a show made to like sell toys and stuff, but the popularity of G4 just pretty much skyrocketed the moment it came out, and it's got its own huge fandom, which we can get into more about this later, since they're technically on G5 right now, but they've already canceled that, so now the fandom just kind of run by the fans at this point. But
yeah, the show was popular enough to get 9 seasons. It first aired October 10th, 2010, and it ended October 12th, 2019. So it was really, really popular, and people still want more, even though the show has since wrapped up.
I mean, I want more.
Yeah, everyone wants more.
I know, you saw it, right? When they were developing the ideas for G5, they were like thinking about like a reboot, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
So they have like all the main 6, but they have like a sort of different storyline. Like Twilight wasn't a unicorn, she was an Earth Pony. Pinkie Pie was a Pegasus. Someone else got flipped, I think.
I think Rainbow Dash was an Earth Pony.
Was she?
Yes, she was an Earth Pony in that design.
Oh yeah, no, it was Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie were the Earth Ponies, or were the Pegasus?
Yes,
Pegasus,
I think so. Yeah, it was. So if anyone's confused, we're talking about some concept art that was done for the next generation My Little Pony, having the same characters from G4, but changing up that story and the species of the characters.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, some people criticized it, but I'm all for that. Yeah. I love watching like alternate universe stuff. And
those specific characters people really loved. When they moved on to the Generation 5, which we'll talk about more My Little Pony generations, people didn't connect with it as much because of these new characters, and the story wasn't as engaging.
Yeah, it kind of... I mean, I don't mean to sound like so mean about it, but it kind of got like it kind of felt like dumbed down for like toddlers and stuff. It didn't really feel like it was a show that was sort of made for everyone, because that's what G4 felt like. G4 felt like something you could enjoy, like, no matter who you are, but G5 kind of just like felt like a kid's show.
Yeah, I agree. They didn't really know their audience because they wanted to dip into the Generation 4 lore, but they also wanted to create a new story, and only older fans would know the lore. Well, younger fans too, but that was pandering to the older fans. But then kind of not doing it all the way was a little confusing.
It felt like they were like stitching stuff together, but like just not in a really great way. What was I gonna say? It was.
We can also move on to discuss the story a little bit of G4 for anyone that's unfamiliar with it. There's 6 main characters, and each of them represent different quote unquote element of harmony, which is a major thing in the show. There's kindness, laughter, honesty,
Generosity.
yes,
Loyalty and magic.
yes. I definitely know all of them, and each of them represents one of the main characters. So
yeah, Applejack. Okay, I guess for each character, Applejack is honesty, Rainbow Dash is loyalty, Fluttershy is kindness, Rarity is generosity, Pinkie Pie is laughter, and Twilight is magic.
yes,
Which, yeah, they are all the elements of harmony, which are these like significant like elements of friendship and such. Specifically with these 6, these 6, which they referred to as the main 6. Main being spelled MANE,
as in a horse mane.
Yeah.
And so starting right at the beginning of the show, they introduced this concept of the elements of harmony, and just started with like developing a bigger world that was more than just, oh, they're ponies that live in this town. That was what a lot of people really loved just when the first episode aired. They're like, wow, this thing's really cool. Like, there's a lot to it. They also introduced the logic of cutie marks, which are the little stamps on the pony's hindquarters. And in previous generations, the ponies have always had those, but there was no reason for them. It was sort of just what they were named after. Like, if she had a flower cutie mark, she would be Blossom or something like that. Yeah. But in this show, their names did relate to their cutie marks, but it was more of a destiny element in the sense that they earned their cutie marks as they grew up. Your cutie mark was possibly predetermined by fate, but you didn't know what you were going to get. But funnily enough, their names always lined up with what their cutie mark ended up being.
It's always a really cool discussion, because if your cutie mark is like predetermined, do you really have free will?
Exactly.
Or does the magic work where it's just you will always like love whatever your cutie mark gets?
Yeah.
Like, because then deep down that's how you are. I would say that would be the case, although it's still an argument about like free will and stuff.
Because some ponies have kind of bland cutie marks because they weren't really considered, since they're just characters in the background. Like a lot of Pegasi, their cutie mark is just that they can control the weather, that they move clouds around or make rainbows. But apparently that's their life's
Rarity's
life's work.
Rarity's a funny situation because her cutie mark is gems, which her thing is fashion. She's a fashion pony, but her cutie mark is for the fact that she can specifically find gems with her magic and stuff. Which I guess this has also been argued, like, why cutie marks aren't always like super destiny defining, because Rarity is in fashion, which does include gems, and you could interpret that as gems, but like the whole reason was because she found the rock with a rock with gems in it. I hope people understand what we're talking about if they know. I have to remember to talk like people don't know what I'm talking about.
If people do know, awesome. But if not, then we gotta make sure that it's a little clear for them. So, Ava and Marinelle, do you want to pop in and say anything, since you guys are not as crazy about My Little Pony as we are, but you are familiar with it? So, do you have any comments, any stories you want to tell us about?
Our opening song was the My Little Pony theme song, but the extended version.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite pony?
I feel like Fluttershy was always so underrated, and Rainbow Dash, fire.
Yeah,
It's
Rainbow
really
Dash
good.
was my favorite.
Out of the main 6,
Yeah, no.
it's hard. Like, well,
No, Rainbow Dash, all the way.
you know what? Yeah, I agree. I love Rainbow
She's
Dash.
fast. Her character design is good, and she flies.
I was like Pinkie. Everyone says I'm Pinkie because I'm goofball and I have poofy hair.
Yeah.
my favorite character throughout the entire series is Trixie, which she's not initially part of like the real show. She came in the first season in an episode called Ghostbusters, where she's like a magician pony, which is funny because they're unicorns, but she runs like a magic like show thing. But Trixie becomes a much like bigger character later down in like next few seasons and stuff. And I don't know, I relate to her a lot.
Trixie's really cool. She kind of disappeared for a while. She was only in a few episodes, but they brought her back as a friend for Starlight, who is a character that they were working on redeeming because she was mean, but then she wanted to be nice. And she actually became best friends with Trixie, who Twilight doesn't like, and Twilight has to learn to cope with the fact that her friends can be friends with people that she doesn't get along with.
Yeah, she's Starlight's girlfriend.
Yeah, it's not like well, they're kind of ops like Starlight and Trixie, but not like Trixie wants to kill her. They just don't get along and they don't like each other.
Twilight and Trixie.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, Trixie and Twilight, they're kind of ops, but she has to cope with the fact that like Starlight's friends with her, and they can all be friends. Because friendship is magic.
Trixie kind of got like unfairly treated the first time she came in because, yeah, she was arrogant, but that's kind of like part of her whole like show thing is that like she's like this magician. Yeah. She talks in third person like almost all the time. She's like the great and powerful Trixie, and then something like that. But that's like her whole act, and what like Twilight and her friends kind of like did to her. It was just kind of mean.
They kind of embarrassed her, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But she was just doing her job.
Yeah.
There's so much drama. If you guys were to assign us as My Little Ponies, who would we be?
I do not know.
You don't know.
You know.
Okay, I know them better. I think Marinelle, you would be...
And why?
Give me a reason. Okay, a reason. Give me a minute. Honestly, I could see you as being Applejack, because you're really hardworking, and you're very, like... I feel like you're just very, like, family-oriented, and, like, you love, and, like, your friends, and, like, you're down to earth.
That's funny.
Ava,
that's not the first time I've ever done that.
That's funny. Okay,
And then Ava.
I could see Ava as... Give me a minute. There's a couple options. I want to say Twilight.
Really? Main character energy.
Yeah,
okay.
I think
okay.
Twilight's not a typical main character because she's pretty nerdy, but I can't give an exact reason.
The vibes.
I get Twilight energy. I don't know if you like to read a lot.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I sensed it from my Twilight reading I gave you.
Thank you.
I see Twilight. I think you're also pretty hardworking. I see Twilight is definitely that. She's not as like laborious as Applejack, but she studies a lot, and I don't know. She's a chill girl.
I think the
Sometimes she's not chill.
characters have really developed throughout all the 9 seasons. I was watching the first 2 episodes again, and I was like, man, Twilight Sparkle, honestly, kind of annoying for the first first part. And it's crazy to see how like Lauren, she just really develops them into these really likable people. Ponies.
Yeah.
Ponies.
Yeah.
The ponies are not people. That's like a rule.
That's an interesting thing that you brought up to people, because in the documentary, it's a documentary, right?
Yeah.
The show, the Toys That Made Us.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I guess like, was it Hasbro, that owned My Little Pony? They're like, yeah, well, we kind of need like a third toy idea, and they came up with My Little Pony, and they were like.
They cooked?
No, not necessarily cooked, but they originally wanted the toy to be a soft thing, like a plush thing, like girls can cuddle with, but it ended up being like hard,
Like a ride-on.
Yeah, and I forgot my train of thought, but it's interesting because it's kind of like LPS dolls, where like they'll treat LPS as it's already like a person, like that's already the character.
Yeah.
We do the same thing with My Little Pony, where it's like My Little Pony is already a character.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily need a human like LPS, or else that's weird. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the older shows had humans in them.
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had
How
a
weird was
human
that?
girl, and she would like ride on them.
oh.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, but there was only like one one human.
Was there ever an episode where they like humanized the ponies?
No, that was a new
Equestria
thing.
That
Okay.
was Equestria
Yeah,
Girls.
Equestria Girls was like, respectfully, not my favorite.
Was that like a separate license, or
I
was
liked
that
it.
like the same thing?
It was under My Little Pony, but
They never showed
Yeah.
like the characters
they never interacted because they were in different
Yeah.
universes. But
That's so weird.
the one like main character from Equestria Girls did appear once in the show at the
And what
very
year
last
was this?
episode.
What year was this?
well, the last episode was 2019.
Yeah,
but,
so this was recent.
Yeah, Equestria Girls started in 2013.
Okay.
I got it
Equestria
right,
Girls
yeah.
started, I think, because of fan art. They were drawing
Oh,
the
yeah.
ponies like the
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and then I think the creators saw that and were like,
Yeah.
we should make a whole show for this.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're gonna go into some music now.
Side tangent, by the way.
yeah.
I would say you're Twilight.
I'm Twilight. Okay, thank you. What did I say? Well, yeah, I agree with you being Pinkie Pie. Okay. All right, we're gonna go to music interlude. This is "Let the Rainbow Remind You."
Each one of us has something special that makes us different, that makes us rare. We have a light that shines within us that we were always meant to share. And when we come together, combine the light that shines within, there is nothing we can't do, there is no battle we can't win. When we come together, there'll be a star to guide the way. It's inside us every day. See it now, see it now. Let the rainbow remind you that together we will always shine. Let the rainbow remind you that forever this will be our time. Each one of us will sometimes falter. We may stumble, we may fall, but we still have a kind of magic, one that will see us through it all. And when we come together, combine the light that shines within, there is nothing we can't do, there is no battle we can't win. When we come together, there'll be a star to guide the way. It's inside us every day. See it now, see it now. Let the rainbow remind you that together we will always shine. Let the rainbow remind you that forever this will be our time. Let the rainbow remind you that together we will always shine.
I messaged some bounty over Tumblr last night. She said, Roar X3, so it's true love at first sight. Throw out my candy bracelets, now I'm headed to class. I'm still 20%, so get your head out your ass. I'm the antonym of the internet, still cleaning up the viruses that you had left. I think I've fallen in love again. Don't stop until you hear the I'm the antonym of the internet. Been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. Fuck this cynicism, let the colors fly. Don't care, you think it's cringe because it's not your life. She said, do you like waffles? I said, hell yeah. Been watching Equals 3 until 2 a.m. I ain't got no iPhone, but I got a DS. With a keychain, a pinky, her cupcakes are the best. I've been failing my classes, cause I don't give a damn. They say the world is my oyster, but the free market's a scam. Everything's been changing since last generation was born. And they won't try to take and change it to two-edged sword.
Okay, that was Antonym by Violet Pony, and our next song is gonna be
Solidarity by Prince Whatever.
Thank you, Ash.
Looking back, feels so bittersweet. I never imagined what we started could mean so much to me. It might be true we've passed the golden years. Well, let them say what they want. I'll politely disagree, 'cause it doesn't mean much if you're where you wanna be. So scream if you're out there, if things just ain't fair. Alone in a nightmare, we're not going anywhere. So tell me it's over, that all things have to end. I think we'll live forever, 'cause we're in this together. Tell me where do we go from here? Do we just burn up and disappear? Will you still be there to next to me? Like you were back in 2013. They remember you when you're dead and gone. Let them ask you where you were. Show them you did it all wrong. You remember me when it's been so long. Will it be fades and distant memories? Will I see you at the con? Every time I look back at the place we all came from, familiar faces one by one, seems every pony's moving on.
Hey, we're back. So we just heard Solidarity by Prince Whatever, and now we're gonna have a little conversation about kind of the overall history of the My Little Pony generations.
And all the different versions there were and
Yeah.
went through.
I'm pretty sure we could sing that song from like beginning to end, like perfectly. I've listened to it so many.
You should cover it for us on the radio.
That would be.
Um,
Top of my voice.
My Little Pony G1, it started off in 1982 and ran until 1992. It was super popular and was really collectible. A lot of, like, people were trying to get as many ponies as possible. And as a result of its popularity, it also got a TV show and various TV specials.
What's kind of funny about the very first My Little Pony, or I guess the ones that came out like originally, was that they would fall on their faces because they were so heavy in the run. and this was before they had the cutie marks, and they called them like rump designs.
Yeah.
And they had like a bunch of like little cutesy like flowers on like both sides of their hips that later like they simplified in the iconic Friendship is Magic.
Yeah, the original ponies, I don't have one here for an example. I have some ponies here, but if you haven't seen them, they're pretty clunky. Like,
Yeah.
they're wide, they're soft, like they have soft curves, they have kind of gentle eyes, they're like downturned, and they have pretty big like butts, kind of like, not like in a weird way, just like they have a lot of space for that cutie mark / rump design.
Well, they also put, I think, weights in them so they wouldn't fall over.
Yeah. So they were more about collecting all the ponies, and there was a TV show, and it was like they went on adventures, or like someone got kidnapped or something like that, but it wasn't really lore. There wasn't a lot of lore. It was like, oh, like
You could tell
we have to find this
it was
treasure.
made by bros. I think guys made
Yeah.
it.
I don't know what episode it was, but like I remember like the first generation. Some lines were just like wild in what they like did. Like
Yeah.
the one pony just kind of like fell into.
Yeah,
like,
I
earth
showed
and
them a
fire.
clip last week of of like there's these ponies skating and then on ice and it cracks and one of them falls into like flames. It was really weird out of context. But I had some of the episodes on DVD as a kid and I remember liking it even though I never owned any of the original ponies. They have done re-releases now as a result of like nostalgia bait, even though they are pretty good quality and good for collectors since they are they're like 40 years old now or something. It can be hard to get a hold of them in good condition. So yeah, do you guys have anything else to say about G1?
No, I just think that they really kept switching it up, making them like taller and skinnier.
Yeah.
And then like the later ones, like what, G3, their heads are really big.
Yeah. Well, let's just take it one at a time. So G1 was the one that skyrocketed like My Little Pony. Like without G1 there would be no My Little Pony. And G1, they still sell, like nowadays they still sell merchandise of them because it was so nostalgic and now people remember it fondly. And then in 1997 they released G2, which was stylistically very different than G1. The ponies were taller and skinnier and they had little gems in their eyes. And it was really not successful. It was discontinued in 1999, so only 2 years. They were sold up until 2003 in Europe because they were actually pretty popular in Europe but did not do well in the USA. And honestly, G2 is not talked about like at all. There's like no merch for it. Like pretty hard to find stuff because no one liked it, and it's kind of just left in the dust. But I think the ponies are pretty cute, even though they're different. I feel bad that they didn't get to shine. What do you guys think? Yeah, they're just kind of I think they also had an animated series, but nothing really took off for G2. I think because they were so different, people like that they My Little Ponies were similar to actual like little horses. These ones are more like
colorful. Yeah,
like they're giving more unicorn in like the stylistic sense, even though they were all like regular horses. I don't even know if they introduced unicorns and Pegasi in G1.
No, not
they didn't. They were all quote unquote Earth ponies, which is what they call them in G4. They didn't have any that they were they're fantastical, but not they couldn't fly and stuff yet. And then in 2003, Hasbro relaunched My Little Pony again. And this was really popular. They were sold about 100 million toys globally. So they kind of went back to the chunky, thick pony style. These guys were still different. They had more square noses, and they were more suited for like the 2000s. But now they also introduced some unicorn and Pegasi characters. They also had movies, and an animated series and all of that fun stuff. So this was almost as popular as G1. And this is one I grew up with as well as G4. Did you guys also grow up with G3 My Little Ponies?
Yeah, a little bit.
Little bit? What about you, Marinelle?
I grew up with the same one. It's funny, not to bring up the documentary again.
No,
it was really interesting because they were like, I forget who it was at that time, but they turned down My Little Pony because they were just like, it's not gonna sell. Like girls don't like ponies. The girls love cooking and clean, like very like anti-feminist.
Yeah.
But the person who introduced My Little Pony really got it off the market. She was like, no, we're doing this. Like she was really stern on it. And then they talked about colors and everything, and they were just gonna be like the plain old colors, like generic like pony colors. And then they introduced pastels, and I think that's the seller.
Yeah, because like you can just find a brown horse at a farm.
And like
you can't find a purple horse at a farm.
I mean, girls love colors. I mean, you can think of like pink and purple for girls, but then you can have like pink and purple, and then purple and pink for like the combinations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I think they did a really good job picking the colors for the horses. Just like the color theory and how they're contrasting, and then also how the colors, especially later on, they definitely play a big role in like what their personalities take and who they are as like an identity.
And their cutie mark is just, I don't know, it's such a cute touch to it. I think that's what kind of gives it the more like magical, almost unicorny-esque to it, but I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. In Generation 3 of My Little Pony, Hasbro, they this is what kind of carried over to G4. They had the rights to specific names that weren't in Generation 1. Or, like, so for G4, the characters that were in G3 that you can find in G4 are, like, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Fluttershy, Applejack. Applejack was also in G1, but a lot of the characters from G1, like, say, like, Surprise, I think, or Posey, they didn't have the rights to those names, which is just interesting because as we get it, we'll talk more about it. Like, Lauren Faust based the characters that she developed for G4 based off her childhood My Little Pony toys and the personalities she had for them, but she couldn't use the same names, so they had to use the Hasbro names. But it worked out because I think all the characters look great. What else?
I think the design, especially for what like the G4, was really clever because it's 2D and like the show is 2D animation.
Yeah.
And I think that was really successful because they have a very clear style going for them, and it's so easily transferable and respectfully memeable. And I think that's how we got a lot of the bronies to watch and the fandom to grow, because it was really easy for
the characters are also pretty easy to draw.
Yeah,
like
people can make their own fan art of it.
Yeah, like people were like going into G4, like people would make bases, so they would be like the pony without any hair or wings or anything, and then you could color it in and basically make your OC like that, which is how a lot of people got started making their own characters with My Little Pony bases. And yeah, we can just go into G4. So G4 took it, like, definitely looks really stylistically different because they're way smaller. Like, I'm holding a G4 pony in my hand right now. They're really small. They're only like 3 inches tall. They have really small muzzles, and like they're just like tiny little ponies. And they have made like bigger ones, like jumbo size ones, but in general they're like they're quite dainty.
Eyes are giant.
Yeah, they have very big eyes too, and so I feel like they barely even look like ponies or horses. They're kind of like their own thing now. Like, this is specifically a My Little Pony. But I think it also, like, the different style made it popular. They're small and cheap, which made them like easily collectible. Like, it was like $6 for like a little pony. So that's why I have so many. Like, I personally have a giant collection of ponies. And if you want, you could get like the big playsets or the big talking ponies or the little mini blind bags. Like, they really went all out with these toys, and that really, I think the show was made to help sell those toys, but then in turn the show was very popular, and they kind of just aided each other, because like the toys were great, people wanted to watch the show was great, people wanted to buy the toys
and all the other merch that goes with it.
Yes. And we can talk about
talking about the little ponies for a second. You just unlocked a memory. I have a distinct memory of my sister having so many My Little Ponies, and it was to a point where, like, I was the little sister, okay, for like context, and she loved them so much that our parents put a gate around her ponies so she could play in like a gate, and she wouldn't have to worry about me playing with her ponies.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I started collecting ponies when I was like 10. I had ponies from G3 from when I was pretty young, like 5. But I got really into the Generation 4 Friendship is Magic show, and I started watching YouTube videos of like people doing skits with their ponies, like My Little Pony School or like My Little Pony Vines or stuff like that. And so I wanted to make my own, so I started buying ponies off like eBay and making my own videos, and that is what got me a giant My Little Pony collection, because I was like, I need every character so they can be in my videos. And oh yes, going back a little bit, G3 had a G3.5 actually between 2006 and 2009. So they kept the same character color palettes, but they changed them stylistically a little bit, and it's actually a little bit closer to what we have for G4. So they got shorter, they got very chunky hooves and small muzzles. That was G4.5, and they kind of switched up who was the main characters. They created a similar to a main 6, a main 7. So they had 7 main characters that pretty much all of the merch was focused around these 7 characters, which are Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, Star Song, Sweetie Belle, Scootaloo, Cheerilee, and Tularula.
Oh, that's what they
Yeah. So a lot of those characters also show up in the show, but you know they have different personalities, and that is kind of what led into G4. These smaller ponies, and they were it was kind of like 'cause the first half of G3 was dying off, so they had to kind of like refresh it. And then G4, when the show ended in 2019, also got a G4.5, which they kind of did a similar thing. They made the ponies super chibi, so they get in big heads, giant hair, giant eyes, very small bodies, and they create a lot of like webisodes and new merch for them. It's called Pony Life.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people call it also G4.5 because it was the same characters and same voice actors. Slightly different story because they were making potions a lot in the stories, like about making potions. But general same characters and same like color palettes. And this was okay. It was kind of like a filler for while they were working on
Feels
G5.
like it's something
Yeah.
that they would do to target like younger.
Yeah, it definitely was for younger kids because I tried watching it after the show ended and it made me feel like strange. Like, no, not old. It wasn't very entertaining. It was kind of hyper, and I didn't want to hate it. Like, I was like, I don't want to hate new things just because the old thing I like ended. But it was like just kind of like gave me whiplash. Like I felt just disoriented watching it. I do have one of the Pony Life Fluttershy toys, and she's alright. She has a big, wide open mouth, which is kind of weird. She's alright. I don't know if I would buy more of them. And yeah, G4, you know, really, really popular with the toys. So many toys. And then G4, kind of less toys. They kept going. And then we get to G5, which is the most recent generation.
It's terrible. I'm sorry. It's really bad.
So, yeah, G5 started with a Netflix movie, which I quite liked. I liked the music. And they also had some, like, star casting, like celebrity casting. Like, they had Vanessa Hudgens as Sunny. But then they didn't carry over that casting for the series because it's too expensive. They also had Kimiko Glenn as Izzy. Who else?
I'm not gonna lie,
Liza,
the movie did
whatever.
bang.
Yeah, the movie's pretty good, and it was promising. I was like, yay, more My Little Pony. Sounds pretty good. But then they came out with a Netflix series, and the animation quality dropped because it was a series, not a movie, so they didn't have as much budget. And they changed the voice actors, which not that big of a deal to me, because I think they did a good job
And
anyway.
they switched to like a 3D style.
Yeah,
They went from
so
2D to 3D.
yeah, the Netflix movie, all the Netflix stuff had 3D animation. However, their web series called like Tell Your Tale was 2D, which is fine, but it again, the series wasn't super popular, and it did not necessarily reach the audience that it needed to. Like, it wasn't really clear whether they were targeting bronies, like people that loved the show already, or new kids, or kind of both. It was kind of muddled.
I think they were trying to like put like too many eggs in one basket. Like
Yeah.
they were like definitely like trying to like make stuff for like bronies as well, with the fact they were like including lore from
Yeah.
like the previous generation. But the way they were doing it was just like really sloppy, honestly.
Yeah, they also, I don't know the exact reason, but I know they didn't have the rights to some stuff, so they couldn't mention certain bits of the lore, and that made it even worse and more confusing. They did also start a comic book series because G4 had a comic series, and I haven't read it, but I know they went into a little more of the lore in that. But it was like, what are we focusing on? Like, are we focusing on this new stuff, or are we going back on this old stuff? And it seemed like they were messing with the old stuff because they were like, oh, Twilight Sparkle died and she failed to like protect, but now it's all like Equestria's all different now. And I think I would have just preferred if they started a new story. If they're not going to put it all the way, like there's a continuation of G4, I would have just preferred they started new stuff. Because I don't want, like, now I'm just confused. Like, I really don't understand the lore.
Yeah, I honestly I would have liked a reboot more TPH. I
Yeah.
feel like it had more promise.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they would have gone like story wise if they would have like still had it like very like dumbed down, but I think the idea would have been better than trying to merge new stuff with old stuff without having like you said, all the rights and all that.
Yeah, it's the first time, G5 was the first time they tried to combine the lore across generations, and I guess it didn't really work out because recently G5 has kind of been quietly discontinued. They stopped releasing webisodes, they stopped producing toys, and there's not really any new stuff coming out, and the comic series only ran for like a year. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, as we're wrapping up our segment, we're gonna play a little bit more music and then come back for an outro. So next up is Under Our Spell by My Little Pony.
Yes, from the Rainbow Rocks movie.
Now you're falling under our spell. We've got the music, makes you move it. Got the song that makes you lose it. We say jump, you say how high. Put your hands up to the sky. We've got the music, makes you move it. Got the song that makes you lose it. We say jump, you say how high. Put your hands up to the sky. Oh, 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 oh. You didn't know that you fell. Oh, 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 oh. Now that you're under our spell, listen to the sound of my voice. Oh, soon you'll find you don't have a choice. Oh, captured in the web of my song. Oh, soon you'll all be singing along. We've got the music, makes you move it. Got the song that makes you lose it. We say jump, you say how high. Put your hands up to the sky. We've got the music, makes you move it. Got the song that makes you lose it. We say jump, you say how high. Put your hands up to the sky. Oh, 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 oh. You didn't know that you fell. Oh, 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 oh. Now that you're under our spell. Oh, 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 oh. You didn't know that you fell. Oh, 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 oh. Now that you're under our spell.
I'm here to show you who I am. Throw off the veil, it's finally time. There's more to me than glitz and glam. Oh, and now I feel my stars align. For I had believed what I was sold. I did all the things that I was told. But all that has changed and now I'm bold. 'Cause I know that I am just a pony. I make mistakes from time to time. But now I know the real me and put my heart out on the line. And let the magic in my heart stay true. Whoa, and let the magic in my heart stay true. Whoa, just like the magic inside of you. And now I see those colors right before my eyes. I hear my voice so clearly and I know that it is right. I thought I was weak, but I am strong. They sold me the world, but they were wrong. And now that I'm back, I still belong. 'Cause I know I am just a pony.
I remember seeing Lake's video from San Diego Comic-Con, like the storyboards for this, when I was like 10. I was like, oh my god. And then the episode came out and I was like so hyped. Oh wait, mic's on. Oh. Sorry, that song was The Magic Inside from My Little Pony by Countess Coloratura, which is an iconic, awesome song from season 5. So we're just gonna finish up our conversation about Generation 5, My Little Pony, and kind of what's next for the franchise. So I know, Marinelle, you want to talk about the playset that you're thinking about?
Place is awful.
Well, explain what.
Okay, so hold on. I don't even. Who is this character?
It's Sunny. She's
I
the
just
main
want to
character.
say it's $99.99 on Amazon.
Let's start. Okay, let's explain to them what we're talking about.
Okay, so can you go into?
Yeah.
who
So
this
Sunny
character
is the main character in My Little Pony Generation 5, and she kind of has an alicorn form, which means that she can become like alicorn has both a unicorn horn and Pegasus wings, and they made a playset of a giant Sunny that opens up to be a playset like it's like a clubhouse. So it's like So yeah, Marinelle has really strong opinion on this playset.
So this playset is literally okay. Going back to what I said, it's interesting that My Little Pony does not need a human in the storyline at all, and it's the character itself. So then I guess My Little Pony now wants to kind of like up it up a notch and make the pony the playset instead of the character. So this playset is Sunny is her name, right?
Yeah.
This is Sunny, and she's 25 inches tall, and
That's a really small
yeah.
pony.
well, no, it's kind of big.
I
Yeah.
was making a joke about horse size.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For a horse, that's small.
But she's 25 inches tall, and think of the game Operation. And I want you to picture that and what that what
Yeah,
that
if
means.
you guys want to look it up, it's called My Little Pony Sunny's Playset Reveal.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And so what you do, like, I don't know, what you do is that you take parts of, like, body parts of her and, like, open up, like, each body part opens up, like, a room or something.
Why are we playing Operation with Sunny?
Yeah, I don't know, like, if you, like, pull her head down and then, like, rip open her scalp or whatever, like,
God.
it's like her bedroom or something, and then if you open up her leg, it's like the kitchen with a slide.
This sounds so violent out of context.
And then her body, I have no idea what her body is. It's like a hangout spot, I guess.
And also the tail is a slide.
That one, that I know I'm hating on the playset, but the tail as a slide is actually cute. Like, that's smart. I feel like everyone would want that, but it's so weird. I don't know. I feel like I'm dissecting a pony.
I personally find the playset pretty funny and creative. It is weird, but I think compared to a lot of other stuff G5 was doing, which was kind of just boring, this is more creative and just like, I don't know if I saw that I would buy it for my kid, but like as a collector I would buy it because it's just so strange. And I know people online were calling it the Trojan Sunny because it's Sunny that like opens up.
But then you get another Sunny that's
okay,
tiny.
You put tiny Sunny inside, which is
Sunny,
kind of
yeah, and that's so weird. I don't know.
It is like it has strange implications.
I guess, I don't know. I guess they just want to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
And this is for ages 5 and up, by the way.
So, yeah, I would say the G5 toys were not as appealing. They had strange, like, flat faces. And a lot of them only had molded on hair. They didn't do the brushable hair that much, which was a really appealing part about the other pony toys, that they had brushable hair.
Yeah, that was the focus of, like, the earlier My Generation,
Yeah.
or, like, the earlier generation ponies, is that they originally, like, it was supposed to be hair play.
Yeah.
Like, that was the biggest thing, but now they took it away from them, and now it's just hard plastic everywhere.
They do some brushables, but it's, like, not all of them, which is...
And then the newer designs, they kind of use the same face designs,
Yeah.
and then, like, I feel like they just slap on different colors.
Yeah.
I don't know. My opinion, I feel like it's kind of lazy.
I think
Yeah.
they definitely went more collector route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they kind of... Well, they definitely just cheapened it a bit. You know, obviously, toys are way cheaper now. Like, not... They cost more, but they are made more cheaply. And... Yeah, the G5 toys were just kind of hit or miss, and obviously they weren't really successful because it's basically been discontinued now.
I wish I brought the Trixie figure that I had. Thanks, Mark, by the way, for giving me that.
And so we have about 5 minutes left, so we're gonna wrap up. And what do you guys think is next for My Little Pony? Just like in like a few sentences.
What's next? A better playset.
I would hope that we get a G6 within the next, like, 3 years. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, they're too profitable.
Yeah, I mentioned that like they have been super successful in the past, so I think it would be worth it to continue making it. But I think they're also going to go back into nostalgia because they are already doing re-releases of G1 and just creating merch of like those older characters and kind of combining all the generations now with just in merchandise. I think they're going to continue milking that for all it's worth, just instead of like coming up with new stuff. I think they will try to make a G6 at least at some point, but I think right now they're just going to be like, oh, here's this character on a t-shirt, remember her? like stuff like that.
They have some
Yeah.
G4 stuff at Hot Topic now.
Yes, they do. Yeah, so I really love that though, because I like G4 coming back. It deserves it.
What I think is next is they're gonna re-add My Little Pony to Netflix. They used to have all of the seasons, and then they took some of them off. And then I tried to watch My Little Pony recently, and it's nowhere to be found.
That's where I first watch it, because I had my friend's Netflix, and I kind of like flooded it with ponies.
It's very strange. It's not on Netflix anymore. Like I remember it was seasons 1 through 4, but now it is all on YouTube if you want to watch it. Especially if you have ad block, you can watch it without ads.
You
That's
Block
how I watch
Origin,
it, yeah.
by the way, shout out.
Yeah. But guys, if you didn't know anything about My Little Pony, I hope you learned something today. If you already knew about My Little Pony, I hope you enjoyed our show, and I hope you enjoyed our music. And we will be back on the 28th. At the same time, 5 p.m., to talk more about girls' media and play some awesome music. So thank you guys, and have a good night.
Listening.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.